You are eventually going to die and you need to start whatever it is you want to start. I want you to literally do something right now. I want you to think about the fact that one day, it doesn't matter if it's 30 years from now, 30 days from now, you won't exist anymore. Your dreams, the someday list, the plans, all this kind of stuff, none of it's going to matter because you're going to be gone. And this isn't going to be some crazy video about, depressing death or anything like that, but this is just about the facts and the math of what this life actually looks like. And I just wanted to get this off the chest because I'm seeing a lot of people procrastinate, be in the analysis paralysis mode. I think it was, a common theme the last couple of weeks. So I wanted to get this off my chest and just talk about how I deal with this kind of thinking. I want to talk about the 50-50 rule. This is literally how I live my life. The first 50%, I act like I'm going to die tomorrow. It sounds messed up, but stay with me. I imagine literally in 24 hours, I get hit by a bus, I leave this earth, gone. Right? If I had a genie or if you had a genie come and tell you that, what would you do? Right? You wouldn't be focused on being frugal, saving every single penny you can get your hands on, all this kind of stuff. You'd probably go buy the nice car, spoil the people around you, go on a trip as quickly as you can, see things that you've always wanted to see over the last 3 to 5 years, or start that freaking business that you've wanted to start for so long because you're finite, right? You don't have that much time left. That's a very good way to live. But the other 50%, I legit live as if I'm going to leave this or live on this earth for another 50 years. I'm very smart with my money, my investments, delaying gratification, not being dumb, etc., etc. And I'm not saying either one of these is perfect, but this rule has served me extremely well. And I think this society is kind of tipped so far on one or the other ways, and that's why we constantly just clash. We constantly just butt heads because we're always trying to one up or prove one another. When it's like both are great. Like live in abundance, but also don't be an idiot and make 10 grand a month and spend 11, right? It doesn't make sense. So I want to get this on and segue to the next point of the uncomfortable math, right? Let's talk numbers for a second. If you're 30 years old, I know a lot of my guys watching this are a little bit younger, but let's just say you're 30, you have roughly 17,500 days left on this planet. If you're 40, you got 14,600. So my 20-year-olds, you probably have, mid to low 20,000 days on this left. Just think about that, not years, days. And the kicker is you're not even going to get all of those days, quote unquote. You'll sleep through about 8,000 of them. You'll spend another 3,000 working jobs you probably don't love. And that leaves you with what? Maybe 6,000, whatever that math works out to, 6,000 days to actually live your life, pursue what you want to do and do what matters. It's 6,000 days. That's it. Think of how fast a day passes by right now. And the thing that gets me here is the average person spends 2.5 hours a day, 3 hours a day on social media. That's 912 hours per year, over 22 full working weeks, just scrolling through other people's lives, scrolling through what they could have been or comparing to one another. We've literally we're trading our finite time for just bullshit feeds of other people's highlight reels, right? Think about that, which then leads into procrastination. So it's why don't we act like our time is limited? Because psychologically, we can't handle the truth. I know this sounds messed up, but it's the God honest real. It's just 100% true. We live like we have unlimited time, but plan like it's death is only decades away. I hear the same excuses everywhere. I'll start that business when I have more money saved. I'll write the book when the kids are older. I'll travel when I retire. I'll start that YouTube channel when I'm more prepared. I'll start my personal brand when I'm more prepared. But the brutal truth is you're never going to have enough money. You're never going to have enough time or feel prepared enough, right? And every single day you wait one or wait a 24-hour time block, you just don't get back. And the funny irony is the older you get, the less time you have to recover from starting late. The 25-year-old who starts a business and fails has decades to try again. The 50-year-old who finally starts has less margin for error, right? Time isn't just running out, it's literally accelerating. And I had this thought, it's I look at the clock sometimes, I'm how the hell is it 8 p.m. already? I don't understand, right? Which then leads into a huge pillar of regret, right? People don't, they look at these things, they hear the same regrets over and over. I look at hospice workers or nurses, and it's never about the mistakes that these people made on their deathbed. It's about the chances they never took, right? They don't regret the business that never failed. They regret the business they never started, or they don't regret the relationship that didn't work out. I don't know. I'm just kind of riffing here. They regret never telling someone how they felt about that said relationship and, figuring, things out kind of from there. There's so many things. And I don't know. I see friends doing this who always just constantly talk about starting the same thing, we'll go to a dinner, and a year or two later, I'm like, hey man, did you ever start X, Y, and Z? Literally, I had this maybe fairly recently, about 6 months ago, and the guy's in the exact same position as he was a year and a half later. And I'm like, brother, like, what have you been doing? And it's just this constant, monotonous, same BS routine that just goes nowhere, right? And that's why partially I love routines, but I partially also hate routines for this exact reason, is you just get so, your body literally gets used to doing the exact same thing over and over and over again, that when you deviate from that a little bit, when you spend an hour working on that business after hours, when you spend that hour at the gym getting your mind and body right, it feels very foreign, right? It feels fake almost, and your body's like, they reject it, and it feels weird, so you stop going, so you stop getting consistent, and then you go into this, hole of depression, and it just spirals, right? This is why it sounds morbid, it sounds messed up, but I think of death first. It's like, is anyone going to really care about this in 10 years from now? Probably not. Probably not even a freaking week from now, dude. They're probably forgetting what you wore that day, what your facial hair looked like that day, what social media post you put out there with your face, even though someone was talking shit about it a week ago. It's like, who cares, man? Genuinely, who cares, right? So it's like, maybe I'll call this the mortality motivation, framework. When you truly accept that your time is limited, everything changes, and not in a depressing way, in actually a happy way, in like a liberating way, right? And I'll ask you 3 questions. It's like, first, if you died 5 years from now, what would you remember about your life? Would you be dreams and experiences, or would it be about your excuses? Second, imagine yourself at 90, looking back. What will you wish you had started today? Will you be proud of how you spent your time? Or would you be full of regret of the life you never lived, the business you never started, the places you didn't travel, the car you didn't buy, or the channel you didn't start? There's a million things I could riff off here. And then third is, how will you feel about not starting that thing you keep thinking about in 10 minutes, in 10 months, in a decade? Most things that seem scary, and like I said, in 10 minutes become regrets in 10 years. And when you truly just expect that your time on this earth, guys, is limited, everything just gets that much easier, right? So I like thinking about these for that specific reason. And I don't know. I think there's a lot more to life than just living by a computer and not doing these things. And I love working, I love doing these things, but I also gotta remind myself of that other 50%. So listen, like, I made a video on this. This is my very first video. It says you don't have as much time as you think. Start now. Just literally start. So I'll call this the start today system if I really need to, right? Step 1, create your before I die list, not bucket list, not like BS, the skydiving stuff. I'm talking about like meaningful ideas that would make your life feel complete on your deathbed when you're thinking about this, the business ideas, creative projects, relationships, YouTube channels, I don't care, and build the impact you want to make. Step 2, apply that 10-10-10 rule to everything on the list. How will you feel about not starting this in 10 minutes, 10 months, 10 years? Step 3, find your minimum. It's just like business. Instead of a minimum viable product, it's a minimum viable start. You don't need to quit your job. You don't need to risk everything. What's the smallest step you can take today that moves you toward what matters? And perfect, I always say this, perfect is the enemy of started, and started is the enemy of regret, right? You just need to put motion. You just need to get momentum. I don't care if it's even a half step forward, right? So when I hear nurses and people talk about that hospital story where it's like they're talking to these people every single day about the regrets that they have while they're literally dying and are days or weeks away from death, that's what, this list comes to mind of, right? That's what, you just need to do. And this is what I did. I started with the minimum viable version. I didn't quit my job immediately. I started doing those text messages. I started outreaching to my network before starting my lead gen business, and it worked out today. And that tiny start led to everything: my net worth, my connections, my relationships now, the things I can buy and the things I can do. That's what this is, right? So, and I get it. Like, I might fail. I don't have enough money. It's like, it doesn't matter. Are you willing to start with what you have? That's what you really need to think. What will people think? It's like, dude, they're not even worth considering. And besides, what's worse, being judged for trying or regretting that you never tried at all? I could promise you with this YouTube stuff, people looked at me very, very strangely. And then as soon as it took off, everything changed, right? That you only need one home run, one small win for everyone to forget about your 100 losses. So please, just remember that. I know this video is kind of all over the place, but as always, if you made it this far, I want to see you win. Thank you for your time. We'll see you in the next one.